What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Outdoor Builders podcast. And today I have the privilege and the honor to have my friend here, Tom McGovern, a mentor, a friend, someone that I look for all the time, and someone that does have a lots of knowledge and wisdom and knows when it comes down to business. So thank you, Tom, for taking the time and being here with me today.
Glad to be here.
Yes, it's an honor to have you here. So why don't we just start by saying who is Tom? Where does Tom come from? And a little bit of the background in business, like what you did on your early ages.
Yeah.
And today you're retired, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like you never stop. You're always doing things here and there. But like, why don't you just give us a quick update on what you're doing right now and where did your journey started into this point?
Sure. So I started in the insurance business when I was 19 years old
Okay.
and had many good mentors that helped me along the way. During that time, I got 2 master's degrees and 3 professional designations in the insurance industry to help me improve and understand the type of work that I was doing and to help my clients the best that I could. And I also had 4 children during that time period, and now 14 grandchildren.
Wow!
So
Congratulations.
it's been a wonderful ride. My company worked primarily in the property casualty,
Okay.
business insurance, employee benefits
Got
in
it.
that area, and then we sold the company in 2013 before COVID. Thank
That's
you,
good.
Lord. And then I had a 3-year consulting agreement with the new owners.
Right.
I actually stayed on for 5 years,
That's good.
and then retired. Got closer to my kids in Iowa, which is where we were born and raised, and hoping that I can find another business
Okay.
to partner or invest or have a joint venture in at some point. I haven't found the right one yet,
That's good.
but I
So
just can't walk away from business.
so it's kind of like for the right moment, right opportunity comes up, and then you're just taking that and going for it. That's good to know,
Yeah.
because a lot of people that's watching this, they're kind of probably looking for someone like you that can come with the knowledge that you have and just kind of guide them and help them, as you do with me. We sit down, we talk, and we go over things, and I really appreciate all that. So, Tom, looking back today, when you get to your industry, right, the insurance industry, was that something they always look for to start as a business, or that just eventually happened out of nowhere? Well, I mean, how did everything started?
Yeah, good question, Bruno. When you're 18 years old, when I was first exposed to the insurance business right out of high school, that was the last thing I wanted to do.
Okay.
I had been working at a locker plant as a meat cutter in our hometown, and the 2 owners, who was a brother and brother-in-law, were getting up in their age. And I thought that if I worked hard enough, if I was good with the customers, that they would help me buy their business when it was time for them to retire. And then something happened.
Okay.
One day, one of the son-in-laws showed up in a hat and apron at the business. So I knew right away what was going on. He was going to own the business.
Right.
It didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter how good I was with customers. He was going to own the business someday. So that was my first experience with nepotism.
So basically, that was like a wake up call where it's like, well, there's other people here that's gonna take over. I'm not gonna be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Big
Yeah,
wake up call.
unfortunately.
Yeah, big wake up call. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I was way underpaid
Okay.
when I was working there, and I knew I was underpaid, but I really felt like if I did the right job that the
If
owners
you
would.
work hard enough and show up every day,
Yeah.
and all that,
Yeah.
And then, one thing that I tell my friends and people that I talk to, Tom, is that like when you show up every day and you're doing your job, don't feel like you're doing more than all the other guys. You're just doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Amen.
That's simple, right?
Amen.
That's like just do it without expecting anything, right?
Yeah.
Do your
Amen.
best, and that's like, okay, I'm doing my best, and it's like, okay, then you're being honest to whoever hired you to do what you do, right?
Yeah.
But keep going. Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was in high school yet, a former, excuse me, a former teacher of mine had approached me about going into the insurance business.
Mm.
And I wanted nothing to do with that, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
But after I had this experience with nepotism, I called him up and I said, "Do you remember when?" And he said, "Yeah, I remember." And I said, "Well, could we talk?" And
And how old are you then?
I was 19.
You're 19.
I was
Okay. A year
19.
after. Okay.
Yeah, less than a year later.
Okay.
But I realized that a lot of what the insurance industry had to offer was what I was looking for. First of all, as a 19-year-old, the second oldest in a family of 11, whose father
Wow.
was a truck driver and his mother stayed home,
Wow.
I had no money. I had no capital to begin a business. So when I went into the insurance industry, it was because I would get paid for the work and the results that I got. And that was really attractive to me, especially coming out of what I just came out of, because I was overworked and underpaid. But I was investing in what I thought was going to be the business I would own someday.
Right. So basically, you came out of your comfortable zone of having a fixed salary to a commission-based opportunity where the more you work, the more you make it.
Right.
Instead of like just having a regular paycheck to paycheck,
Right.
and that number never changed. It was always the same number for so many years, right?
Right.
So on that moment right there, did you realize that was exactly what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
No, I even didn't plan on it
Wow.
then. In fact,
Wow.
the only reason I went into the insurance business at that point was because, as I said, we had no money. So I thought, well, if I can save up enough money through the insurance business, I can go to college. I can get my 4-year degree,
Got it.
and then I'll quit and do something that I really enjoy. But after a couple of years, I had enough money in the bank that I could pay for 4 years of college.
Wow.
And at that point, I was going to quit. And I said to myself, "Well, you're doing pretty good. You know, maybe you ought to just keep going the way you are." So
Right.
that's what I did. And then I pursued the other educational programs through the insurance industry.
So you did both at the same time, run the
did.
business and going to college. Wow.
Yes.
I guess that was a very stretching moment for you, right?
Yeah, it was very, very trying, very difficult, long hours.
Right.
Fortunately, I had a wife that understood and that was willing to get in the saddle with me during that part of our marriage.
And what you said now, having a wife, having someone alongside with you as you talk with your wife and you guys plan for all this and you guys follow through with the plan, it's beautiful to see the fruit that came out of everything, right? So it's like you stayed in the path and you did exactly what you said you're going to do. And then look at this, you built the business, you sold it, and now you just like living a retiring life, enjoying your grandchildren and all that. What a great story. Like it's really encouraging, and I always love to hear everything they have to say. But for the people out there today, let's say the younger people that's going to college right now and they have a side job to make sure they have enough money to pay for their college education. If you could give them an advice, what that would be, Tom, today?
Well, I would pursue as much education as I could get.
Okay.
And there's a lot that companies pay for today,
Right.
depending on if you're, with a publicly traded company or a privately held company. But a lot of companies pay for advanced education for employees.
So it's a lot of new programs today. I saw the other day Netflix paying for AI generators, like people that can generate AI engineers, $900,000 a year.
Woo.
So check this out, $900,000 salary base a year so they can create AI movies.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you have an education today and you're really looking for something, AI is a really good industry to be in it. But like you said, looking for as much as possible education that's available out there, and look for the company that's already in the trade market. And the reason why is because they are offering college education and a base salary for those that wants to do what they need, right? Basically, they say we pay for your education, then you come work for us.
Yeah.
Right. So what else do you think will be something good for our listeners to know?
Well, a lot of it, Bruno, has to do with their own personal development and their own character, because, you can get promotions if you do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
as you mentioned earlier, if you just show up for work on time and you're prepared and even show up ahead of time, and generate ideas for the business owner that will improve their business.
Right.
People are looking for those types of employees, and they want to keep them
Yeah.
today. They're
Yeah.
very hard to find.
Yeah, it's very hard to find. And the mentality that I talk with people when they come here and they want to join our organization is, I always tell them, I'm not expecting you to know everything. Are you willing to learn? Yes, I'm willing to learn. And then the other thing that I tell to people that knows, that does have some knowledge in the field, in the industry, I tell them, I don't need another one to add on to the team. You know, a lot of people say, hey, I'm here to add to the team. Great. The add-ons are people that you're still going to have to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
What we need today in our industry is multipliers. People that's going to come here, they're going to look at the scenario and look at everything that's happening. Hey, Bruno, I feel like if we do this instead of that, it's going to help us get to this location, to this position. And those are the type of people that's really changing the industry, right? Yeah. You see a problem and we resolve a problem, and then you keep going, you keep resolving whatever comes your way. Now, there is a lot of people that they just get into the comfortable zone of like, you know what, I have a good pay, I'm just here. I'm not going to even worry about anything. Even though they see things wrong, they see things that's not working, they don't even bother. Like, those are the type of people that's not really here for the money. They're here for, not here for the company, they're here for the money. And those type of people they don't have the entrepreneurial mindset, right? Right. They only have like, I'm an employee of someone and that's it, right?
Right. And we need those people.
Yeah.
I mean, we need people that are not risk takers, that are administrators, and they get their job done and they do it well. But when I was hiring people that were developing their own client base, I always told them, I'm looking for partners.
Gotcha.
I'm not looking for employees.
That's so good.
I'm looking for partners.
That's good.
Partners think differently than employees do. Risk takers, entrepreneurs think differently than a wage earner and somebody that wants to get a paycheck and go home at the end of the day. And I'm not condescending to those people. I'm not looking down. I mean, like I said, businesses are built on that type of an employee. But when you're looking for a partner, you're looking for somebody that is a risk taker, somebody that has aspirations of maybe one day owning your business and are willing to pay the price and put in the time and do the work to get there.
That's good. That's so good. You know, that's what I told you guys. A lot of wisdom and knowledge. This guy is like, you're the creator of Google. I would say that because you have so much in you and so good. And moving on here, what is it something that you look back today and you regret it? Like, I want to hear something that you did and like, you know, I regretted that I did this. Because a lot of people want to hear the good stories, but like, I like to hear like, what is it something that you messed up so I can learn from and apply that into my real life? Yeah,
thank you. First of all, let me say that I've made a lot of mistakes, loads of mistakes, a lot of little mistakes. I've been able to stay away from the big mistakes, but I've learned from the little mistakes and haven't let the big mistake take me down. And I'll just give you an example. My industry was changing probably in the late 70s, early 80s, and I didn't know if I was going to have a future in it. So out of fear, I bought a packaging franchise that I knew nothing about. I had no background in packaging. I had no experience in packaging, no education in packaging. But I did it out of fear, thinking that I may have to have something else to fall back on in order to provide an income.
But when you look back at this as an entrepreneur mindset, you're basically looking for a second source of income if one doesn't work, right? So like back then, it did make sense to you because it's like this is going to be a second business where if one is not working, at least I got another one to work, right?
Right,
exactly. I see that, okay. Yeah, and then what happened?
Yeah, and what happens is you end up trying to run two businesses. And that takes away from your primary business. You lose your focus. That was probably the biggest mistake that I made.
Not focusing just the business that was working and try to build something that didn't make sense, right?
Right.
So,
and that's where all my education was. That's where all my experience was and my background. But I decided to go down another trail thinking that I might be able to do better in this business. And if I can't, at least I'll have something else to fall back on.
Gotcha.
But what happens is when you have another business, you're on the back of the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever get off of it, if you ever fall off, that tiger consumes you.
That's right.
He will eat you alive.
Yes.
And what happened in my case in that business, I ended up closing it, paid off all my debts. I never owed any vendors anything. My leases were all up to date. But it was the most expensive mistake I ever made.
Wow.
But it's probably the one thing that I learned the most from.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's good. So when you look back, do you feel like if you would end up going towards still inside insurance, but like you say you only did residential housing,
Business, employee benefits,
employment benefit business.
and business
So
insurance.
if you would have gone towards like housing insurance or car insurance, auto insurance, like other type of insurance, do you feel like that's still inside your industry, but a little bit of different, but you kind of knew the language, right?
Yeah.
But going from like one industry to something totally different with no knowledge, that's exactly what happened, right? Like that was the biggest mistake.
Right. Yeah, and we did provide homeowners and auto and that kind of thing, but it was a very small part of our business.
Gotcha.
It wasn't, the driver in our business. The commercial and the employee benefits were the drivers, and that's where our focus stayed.
That's awesome. So last question so we can finish.
Okay.
All right. What is something that you look forward in, let's say you're a VC now, you're looking for a business you partner up with. What is it that you're looking for in the business to invest into it? Like, what is it, that thing that you're looking for in order for you to pull the trigger and kind of move forward towards being an investor to a business?
Yeah. So part of the reason I moved closer to where our state capital is because we can work with the Economic Development Authority in attracting businesses to the state of Iowa. And my focus in attracting those businesses is agriculture, food, and water technology. So those are the three areas that I'm focused on only because our state, those are the three areas that our state is most active in.
Right.
So trying to partner with a company in those areas, and we are able to get incentives from the state of Iowa to open up new businesses and have businesses relocate and that kind of thing. So that's where my focus is, ag, food, and water primarily.
That's so good. Thank you for your time, Tom. I appreciate you. Guys, it was great. This guy right here does have all the knowledge, all the wisdom. This is just one episode. We're going to do more with you, but we can't because of timing. But thank you so much for your time.
You,
I know
Bruno.
you're going to be catching the plane in an hour.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate you, all the wisdom that you put into me, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. And this was another episode of the Outdoor Builders. I'll see you on the next one.